What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Modern Mortgage Show, where I interview mortgage professionals who share their stories and modern information about the industry. I'm your host, Rocco, and I'm super excited to introduce my guest today. His name is Ross Sykes, and he's the branch manager at Acopia Home Loans out of Daphne, Alabama, which is South Alabama. Ross, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rocco. I appreciate you reaching out. Look forward to have some conversation.
Absolutely. So, Ross, why don't we start off the show? Basically, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and give us a brief intro to who you are?
Sure. I'm a resident. I was resident, born and raised in South Florida, eventually came to South Alabama. I'm an Air Force veteran. Once I left from the Air Force, I did some time within the government as well before I decided to go into the mortgage industry. And it's been a crazy ride for the years that I've been in it, but I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed being a part of my community and helping people. That's why I do what I do.
Well, thank you for your service. How long have you been in the mortgage industry?
Been in the mortgage industry about 3.5 years. So okay, I'm still green. I'm still learning every day something new, but I've never been afraid to, if I don't know the answer, I know where to get it.
Yep, absolutely. So you served before. What else did you do?
After I served with the military, I did background investigations for the federal government, where I was doing security clearance investigations and whatnot. I did that for about 10 years.
Wow. So what made you want to get into the mortgage industry?
Really, it was some soul searching in regards to, I was working all the time, days, nights, weekends, within the investigations community. And it was just, I had no time at home. So the work-life balance was a huge thing for me. So I actually prayed about it for a while before I decided to, I'm going to take a leap of faith. And I took a leap of faith and went from making 85 grand a year to nothing. And I will tell you, cutting my teeth, I had some savings, which did help me the first few months that I got into the mortgage industry. It was 4 months before I got my first deal. And then it was slowly, after that, for 3.5 years. And one thing that continued to motivate me and inspires me is I remember those days where I was sending emails, sending text messages, reaching out to people, and my phone wasn't ringing back. So I was like, why? I felt like I was doing the whole thing, but people don't know you. So it takes time to build that relationship and time to be able to, first they want to get to know you, then they want to trust you, then they'll do business with you. So that was huge for me, and it continues to motivate me, inspires me every day to continue to want to do more and to do more just within South Alabama.
Awesome. It's definitely awesome to see how far you've come. So we're in a very weird, time right now and situation. So what are you doing to get through this disruption and uncertain period of time?
Basically, managing the chaos daily, overcoming obstacles as they come to us. One thing that was affecting us and all lenders and banks across the U.S. last week in regards to where we verify tax transcripts. When it comes to individuals getting into a home loan, that department within the IRS shut down and stopped doing verifications. So what do we do? So the unknown was there for a while before regulations were loosened to where now, as of yesterday, we don't have to do the tax transcripts. We still have to get the form filled out. So when they come back up and the department opens back up, we'll do the tax verification, but it's not going to stop someone from getting into their home, which is a huge thing. There's still, with USDA loans right now, we still have to do the verification, but the borrower can go online and do it themselves and get it to us. So that's ways of overcoming obstacles and continue to move further. Rates are still good. As we see, the market and the demand is still there. So just continue to provide knowledge and make sure people have the right information so they can make the choices best for them and their family.
Absolutely. So you say you love, helping people get into homes. What would you say is the most, fulfilling or rewarding thing about your job as a loan officer?
Most fulfilling, rewarding as a loan officer, I would say meeting new people and basically hearing their stories. And as we grow through, because, in the mortgage business, we get pretty personal with people. We get down to their finances. Sometimes we get down to their divorce decrees. So through that, just that sense of, it's amazing from when you first meet somebody to where you're at the end of the transaction, which literally takes within 30 days, if not shorter. Within that time frame, how much you really get to know that person. And at the end, it's like I guess a good way to put it just came to me is it's like a speed dating app, but you're speed dating your borrower from start to finish within 30 days. A bit of who they are from a financial perspective and from a risk perspective when it comes to getting it to a loan. So it's really cool to watch that happen and to see people. And at the end of the day, they're smiling and they're getting the keys to where potentially maybe they're downsizing, maybe they're upsizing, maybe they're needing a bigger home for a new kid that's coming in, whether or something like that. So it's cool because just when you finish, their story's not done. They still have a long life to live and a story that's going to continue. And I'm just a part of that timeline to get that transition for them to go where they go. So it's really amazing.
Definitely. That's a great way to put it. Now, shifting gears here, we kind of touched on this earlier. When you first started out, what would you say was your biggest struggles or obstacles that you faced early on?
Biggest struggles, not ever doing this before. I'm a people person, so that kind of helped me. Biggest struggles is where to market, how to market. What are some of the ways and ideas? Because I'm an idea-driven guy. I always think nonstop. But where to make sure I'm putting my resources in regards to my time and sometimes my money to make sure I'm getting a return on investment for that. Because as we all know, if you're putting your money or you're putting your time towards something, time is money, and you're putting it towards something else, it's going to be hurting another area of your business. So really how to manage that. That's why I got my degree in business management, is because I enjoyed the strategy. Why do people do what they do? Why do businesses, and how do they overcome certain situations they're in, such as what we're in right now? So that was really, I spent a lot of time and trying to find out and to hone my craft and my skills to make sure that I'm put myself in the right position at the right time.
So would you say you found a solution or a fix to that, or it's an ongoing, or how can I put it? It's just an ongoing thing you need to manage.
It's just ongoing. The whole adage of iron sharpens iron. The more you're going to find those layers and tweak those areas to make you more profitable, but make you more successful as a person as well. Some of that, it's amazing how sometimes things happen at the timing when it happens. Beginning of January, start of the year, notoriously for the mortgage business, that's usually a slower part of the year. This year wasn't the case. It was still pretty good. But during that time, I actually sat down and looked at my entire process flow from start to finish, where areas where I spent more time on that I didn't need to be. And through process improvement, it helped me whenever, interest rates dropped and the phone line rang, emails got sent, texts got sent. So through the business that I've accumulated through that, my process improvement I have marked down, dotted. Dot my I's, cross my T's, but we're always a work in progress. There's always going to be areas we can improve upon, but I'm just trying to be my best self.
For sure. So what tips or advice would you give to, say you were talking to yourself 3 years ago, or just someone starting out, what advice would you give to them?
Number one advice is be persistent in whatever you do. Be persistent, make sure you have a clear, accountable time management system and stick to it every day, no matter what. And also set clear, obtainable goals that you can hit and you can celebrate. I've always been the person to set goals that were way off because I could put anything I put my mind to, but realistically, I was putting them way off. I wouldn't even celebrate. So at the end of the month or the end of the week, end of the quarter, I wasn't hitting those goals. It was like, man, all this work, nothing's happening. I'm having progress, but they're not obtainable goals. So make sure you're setting realistic, obtainable goals and follow time management. Time management is key in this business, and being persistent within that time management. There are areas sometimes you have to tweak. Maybe you have to take a phone call to put out a fire or to assist a bar with a document or something like that. But no matter what, if you go from, you go right back to what your schedule dictates.
So commit to the process, but also enjoy it along the way.
Correct. Absolutely.
Awesome.
I mean, why not have fun in the mortgage business, right?
Definitely. So in recent years, you've been in the industry for a short 3 years, but in recent years, technology has made its way, and social media has made its way into the industry. How would you say this has affected you and your business?
Oh, it's affected me and my business. I always said if you don't adapt to technology and bring it on, it's going to swallow you up and spit you out. And that's real. Take advantage of that technology. Sometimes we feel like there's a little bit too much technology, too many new programs, do this, do that. Learn as you go, but continue to capture, such as social media is a huge thing, as we all know right now. But also any tools that can make your life easier, and save you time. And we're seeing a lot of that within the AI community with websites. You see a lot of AI interfaces, like as chat boxes come up when you click on a page. Just ways to improve to save you time. Now, if technology isn't saving you time, maybe you need to tweak. Maybe you're not using it correctly or accurately or where you need to within your business. So to make sure, continue to have process improvement and watch the flow. And it's very difficult in this business because we're fast paced. We're going all day, every day. It's very sometimes hard to stop and reflect. I think it's important, Rocco, sometimes we need to stop and appreciate where we're at and look at our business from a 30,000 foot view. That's what we said in the military, being prior Air Force, 30,000 foot view of the situation. And after you overcome that situation and you hit the finish line where you close, the next thing that you should always do is an after action report. Military slogan a little bit, where basically you go back and you look at that file and look at areas where maybe you could have saved a day or two, or some areas within your process improvement to improve it. So, I mean, again, we're always a work in progress. We're never going to be perfect, but as long as we try to stress to reach as perfect as possible when it comes to helping out individuals and, making the home buying process enjoyable. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be laid back. I heard an analogy yesterday. Another borrower was calling me. He's like, Ross, he said, sometimes I don't hear from you all the time, but when I hear from you, you have the right information. You're usually asking for a couple documents when that happens. I was like, well, he said, it kind of seems like this. He said, when the water's calm, he said, there's a lot of stuff that's happening underneath the water. And I said, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm wearing the scuba gear to make that happen. So just because the borrower don't hear anything through the process, it doesn't mean we're not working. As you know, there's a lot of processes within this home buying experience.
Absolutely. And going back to technology, it definitely can work for you in a way where it, makes your life easier, it saves time, but it can also, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't adapt, it can definitely work against you and make life harder. So
Right.
are there any modern strategies that you are using or taking advantage of that's helping you maintain better relationships, scale your production, or even organize and systemize your business?
Absolutely. I mean, with social media, making sure I'm being persistent. And initially, I was using social media. I felt it was right at the time, but it wasn't. I was on there. It's like, hey, if you need a home loan, give me a call. This is Ross from South Alabama. I'm a veteran. And I was going with that because I just wanted people to know what I did and that I wanted to help them. But it wasn't the right strategy. So sometimes you unless you fail, right? So and then I started saying, I want to help people, even if it's other people in the mortgage business, even if it's other borrowers or people that are looking to buy 5 years from now that are millennials. So basically, one way to do that, I started creating value-driven videos, creating a YouTube channel and sharing that all over social media and YouTube in regards to what value can I bring to the table today. And the value sometimes will come up through a discussion with a client or with one of your referral sources that it's like, oh, I didn't know that. So just provide value and it's out there. And just sometimes people don't know where to get it, but just provide education, provide value. And through that, I'm learning from my clients. Because some things I automatically assumed that everybody knew, such as the 20% rule. You need 20% to buy a home. Before I got in the mortgage business, I didn't know that. So, but now being in it, you don't. But that's just some of those adages in regards to that. And I think as technology comes, I think also you ever heard the perspective of don't forget where you come from. I don't forget where I come from, coming from a small town in South Florida. I'll never forget where I come from and my roots. One of the ways I do that from a marketing perspective, but I actually enjoy it, I write thank you cards. When I come to contact someone who really impressed me or gave me some useful information or we've done business together, I'll sit down and write out a thank you card just to practice some humility and be grateful for them and their opportunity, and maybe they shed light on something that you never knew before. And that's in all areas of my life, whether it's personal, professional, or what I like to say physical, because I'm an avid gym guy. So you're always learning every day. So that's what I take appreciative. I think we'll learn for.
Yeah, that's very true. And going back to your point of you used to post if you're looking to buy and then you put your phone number. Yeah, I see that so much. They just post, a lot of loan officers and all. If you're looking to buy or if you know anyone, give me a call. And the thing is, there's just so many people doing that. And the strategy you move to now is it works when you give value without expectation or expecting anything in return, then everything just seems to fall in place.
Right. Exactly. Is there any areas that you've seen from a technology perspective within the mortgage business that people weren't using it correctly?
Definitely just going back to that whole posting strategy and creating content. Those are the ones that find their niche. They find their niche, the way they want to brand themselves, and create content around that.
Right.
So you're a VA loan guy, and I'm sure you create content around the VA loan and educate and provide value about it.
Yep. And at the end of the day, I mean, we're helping them with loans, but when it comes to really anybody, not just a veteran, but being another veteran, we take care of each other, and in our communities, we take care of each other. And we have to remember that even when we're in dire circumstances and whatever we're going through, at the end of the day, you can pick up the phone and call us. You can call. Literally, if I found out there was a family that didn't have food tonight, I'd load up and go buy groceries, probably with a mask on, of course. I'd go deliver them to that front doorstep because, together we are one. And even though we have the 6 foot rule, 6 foot rule does not keep us away from being together still. So we have to remember that. And my phone's always on, and I'm honored and privileged. I believe that we've all been put in this place, in this situation, for a reason. And as long as we continue to find the good in things, and through all this, I've done something I've never done before. I started journaling 3 days ago. Make sure throughout my journaling, and basically writing down my thoughts of how my day went and what I'm appreciative for. And so just to actually put on paper in regards to your thoughts and your processes and what you've learned, it's just in 3 days, it's been pretty incredible. I never thought I'd be writing in a journal. So
yeah, when you reflect and then you write out, what you're grateful for, you realize just how much there is to be grateful for.
Right. Well, when you write down where you see yourself and where you're going to go, when you actually literally are writing it down, whenever you're here, it's just like goals, right? Until you write them down.
Absolutely. So and you touched on this earlier with the 20% down payment. So what do you see if we go to the buyer side now, what do you see as the biggest misconception that your clients have before working with you?
Biggest misconception is that I've noticed from a large point is it costs more to own than it does to rent.
Mm-hmm.
In the 20% analogy, but it costs more to own than it does to rent. Literally, I mean, with apartments across the United States, across the nation, you know what apartment prices are. Oh, in Chicago right now, probably a 1 bedroom, 1 bath apartment, you're probably paying what, $1,400, $1,500.
Maybe more.
In South Alabama right now, 1 bedroom, you're paying $1,000, $1,100. Literally, you can buy a house for that, and it'd be less. But a really crucial part for individuals that are buying, say they buy. I've never heard a borrower say, "Well, I bought a home. I don't like buying. I prefer to rent." I've never heard that yet. I'm sure it's coming, but during that time, they have it. Say they own it for 3 years, and they decide, well, I need a bigger house. I don't like this house. I want to go to another home. In 3 years' time, the chances of that home being worth more than it is now in 3 years' time, that's an investment. So maybe they're going to capitalize maybe 15, 20,000, but that's free money. They would have been paying a landlord, and that landlord would have got that 15 or 20 grand after 3 years. So it's smart investment tool to be in the housing market from an owner to own.
Exactly. Looking at it from an investment standpoint, not just buying a home, you're building equity. So, those
Right.
payments monthly that you'd be giving your landlord, now you're putting it into yourself and investing into your property.
Right. And also, I mean, we're right here on the Gulf Coast. So individuals are buying these condos on the beach. When it comes to whether on the beach or directly across from the beach, I mean, literally the ROI these investors are making on their property is gone crazy. I know one guy that I met over the past year. He has a condo, and literally he's owned it for 5 years. It's already paid for itself 2 times. So it's crazy. And I think it's not that it's crazy. It's smart the way he did it, the way he set it up. And I mean, he's got a property management company that runs everything for him. So all he does, he makes the note every month.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty crazy.
Yes. So
well, Ross, I really want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. It was an honor meeting you and speaking with you, and I had an amazing time.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Rocco. Thanks for having me on, and continue to keep in touch. And if you need anything, I'm only a call away.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ross. And thank you to all the viewers for watching, and we'll see you again next episode.